I'm Michelle with Treecat, and I'm glad to have you here. I have a special guest today that I wanted to talk to. She's a Treecat user, and her name is Heidi. She is one half of the reselling duo Bargaining Bex. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Very good. Nice and warm here in
Well,
Portland.
so your story is an interesting one. Essentially, you've been reselling for a while, and you're cross-listing, you're doing all the things, and you lost your love of the cha-ching. Is that right? Is that how I understand things with you?
That that's right. Yeah, I was trying to manually cross list, which as you know takes forever. And every time I heard the cha-ching, when I used to get excited about it because it meant a sale, I then had to immediately find my phone where the cha-ching was coming from and go into the other platforms, find out where the sale came from, and go to the other platforms and immediately delist them. And sometimes forgetting, and then the next morning going through all of yesterday's sales and finding which ones I hadn't remembered to take down, and sometimes not doing it, and then overselling and having to write to a
Yeah,
customer and say,
I totally have that. I'm a survivor of double selling PTSD as well. Yeah, I mean that's why we made TreeCat. That was our whole, point is we wanted to get the items taken down once you start cross
yes,
listing and you start scaling your business. You don't want to have that anxiety,
right.
and you want to be able to have your items taken down before they double sell. Have I double sold? Yes, I have,
Same
and
here.
it's not fun. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing, and it can actually get you in trouble on some of the
Right.
platforms, eBay
eBay
specifically.
does
But
not like
anyways,
it. Oh, I was just gonna say, I started using Treecat, and the first couple of times I would still go in and like double check, but
yeah,
and make sure it was taking things down, and it does automatically, and it's just so nice. I can be like excited about the cha-ching, and I don't have to grab
yeah,
my phone right away
yeah,
and
yeah, and
look
that can
for
be.
what it sold.
We don't always have our phones with us. We might be at the
Yeah,
dentist's office. We might be in a parent teacher conference, where
yeah,
we might be, hanging out with friends and family, and we want to be a good example for our kids and not always on our phone.
right.
Anyways, I would love to hear about your reselling story. I'm always so fascinated to talk with other resellers, and I think it's really important to network as a reseller because it can be a
Yeah,
lonely job and it can be a solitary, monotonous job, right?
yeah, it can be.
Yeah.
Um,
So tell me about your story. How did you get started with reselling? What do you sell?
Yeah,
Where do you
so
sell?
my husband Brian and I are do the business together, and we were actually working. It's about a year and a half ago, working on building up our other business, which is providing IT and bookkeeping to small businesses. And he came across a video. The YouTuber was called Bearded Thrift Machine, and now he's our favorite. But he would wear a GoPro and go garage sailing and show us how to what was valuable. And I'm like, we can do that. And Brian had been selling and buying gadgets on eBay for many decades, actually, at that point. He is a tech guy, so he loves all of that. And I had previously sold on Amazon for a brief while, so I kind of knew the idea. And so we just jumped in. We started going to garage sales and then eventually estate sales. And we started with a bookshelf in our living room. And that very quickly took over the house, and I didn't like that. So then we got a storage unit. Um, and the storage unit was quickly filled. And then about a year ago, which was 6 months into it for us, we got the warehouse, which is where I am
Oh,
now. It's 1,000 square feet, about 10 minutes from our house. So it's really nice that we can get there quickly, but it's completely separate from home. And we have an
wonderful.
office. Part of the warehouse is an office. So then we have all of our inventory, plus a break room and a shipping bench and a photography area. So it's really nice to have that separation, but still have control over all of it because it's just us.
Yeah, that would be nice to have a separate space
Yeah.
one day. So,
Yeah.
what is walk me through your day and how, and what I know you use TreeCat, and how has that
Yeah.
kind of helped you with your reselling?
Yeah. So we get to the office between 8 and 9, and we usually start on our computers. So we reply to eBay messages and any messages from customers. reply to offers, send offers. I list items that we've drafted the day before. And then I'll cross post onto Treecat the items that I just listed. I try to do that every day. And then we'll go into our other business. So Brian provides IT support, small businesses. I do bookkeeping. We do that for a couple hours. And then in the afternoon, we go out into the warehouse and start picturing things and organizing. There's always stuff to move around and boxes to unload and things, and take pictures, and then come back to our computers and draft those items that we've pictured.
So you mentioned to me that you are actually now spending less time with your reselling and you're making more money. And I found that very inspiring. And that made me so happy.
Yeah, we're selling about 20% more than we were before Treecat because we are cross-posting. So I've got all of Mercari, everything from eBay is now on Mercari. And I'd say only about 20% of what's on eBay is on Poshmark. I'm gradually doing it. So every day when we list things, I cross-post those to Mercari and Poshmark. So I just have to go back and cross-post the things that I had already listed. But yeah, because we're making more sales, we're getting at least one sale a day on Mercari or Poshmark, and we get 5 on eBay usually. Our sales have increased by 20%, and it's less work because I'm not having to be like, oh, is this a good item to list on Poshmark? Is it worth the 10 minutes it's going to take me to manually list it on Poshmark? And so I can just cross post it right away, and it takes 30 seconds and I'm
done. Yeah, so I would love to also hear like some success story that you want to share with us about your business.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love being self-employed and being able to support ourselves and not have to answer to anyone. And if we find a free pile on Facebook one day, we can just leave in the middle of the day and go look at it and pick up inventory if we want. But a particular sale that I really love is we went to a barn sale here, and we're on the west side of Portland, and so it's a pretty rural, and there's a lot of barn sales. And we went to one, and there was a big pile of like VCRs and DVD players. And one said DVR, and I'm like, oh, you can record DVDs on it. Maybe we should look it up and see how much it's worth. And it turns out it was one of these internal storage DVRs, like the old TiVo or something. And we paid $10 for it and sold it within a week for $550.
Ooh, that's the kind of thing that gets you like, obsessed, right, with selling.
Yeah. It was great.
That's what gets you hooked when you get one of those. So you mentioned earlier that your store is about 1,200 items. You have about a 1,200 item store, and you are selling 5 to 6 items a day. And what were you paying for using Treecat? Because we have like a tiered pricing system, and it really you only kind of pay for what sells that you've cross-listed. So
right, which is what I love.
You were paying you like
last month. Feature? Yeah, I really like that. Last month I paid $16 for the whole month.
So when sales are slow, you don't pay as much. You don't pay
right, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
I really love that it's not. I mean, a lot of the cross listers are like $40 a month, no matter what you're doing, and they start.
Yeah, and then you have to pay extra for if you want to do like sharing, Poshmark sharing, right? And we're coming out with that feature.
I'm so
hopefully
excited.
Any day. I'm so excited too because I actually see a huge increase in my impressions when I do that. I mean, it's really important on Poshmark. You're on Poshmark, right?
Yeah, I am, and I've started cross-listing now more to Poshmark that I have Treecat because it's so easy. And I see all these people liking my items, and I just don't have the time to go in and like send each one an offer and all of that. So when you unveil some of the other features of Poshmark sharing, that will be great.
It'll be great for fourth quarter because we know sales are going to ramp up. And now, how long have you guys been selling? Has it been several years?
It's about a year and a half where we've like really been focusing on it.
So
Yeah.
but you see the patterns of when
Hmm.
sales start to get busier and when they start to slow down and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk about maybe a challenge or a setback that you faced as a
Yeah.
reseller. I mean, obviously,
So
besides losing your love of the cha-ching, we haven't talked about that.
yeah, so I think consistency is my hardest challenge, like most resellers, just making myself take pictures and list every day or draft every day so I can have things to list on the weekends. That's
Yeah,
pretty difficult. Yeah.
yeah. It's difficult for everybody, I think.
Hmm.
But having a tool that helps you and makes it
Hmm.
saves time, right, is
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
Um, so, would you have any advice to people who want to get started in reselling?
Definitely recommend it. I would say start slow and focus on sell-through rate. In the beginning, when we would go to garage sales, we would sometimes like discreetly look on our phone and be like, "Oh, it's selling for $80. It must be a good buy." And then not realizing that there's 600 times more listed than have sold. Yeah. But focusing on sell-through rate and starting slow if you need to. So if you can't find something with a good sell-through rate, just don't buy anything that day and wait until you
Mm-hmm.
can find something good.
Yeah. And do you guys specialize in electronics, or do you have any certain niche, or do you sell everything?
We mostly sell everything, but my husband is really into the electronics. So we do a lot of vintage electronics, record players, old cassette players, and media that isn't really around anymore, isn't produced anymore. And then I like vintage kitchen appliances, like old blenders and coffee grinders and toasters and things like that. Yeah, this afternoon we're going to an estate sale, which is where about half of our
Nice.
inventory comes from. And we are
Yeah.
bringing our stepson and his girlfriend. They're coming
Fun.
with us
It's
because they
fun.
like
Yeah.
to find things. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about, oh, I'm curious. Do you guys set goals? Do you set goals for your business every year?
Yeah, we haven't really set goals. We do have a contest between the two of
Oh,
us on who lists the
nice.
most. And at the end of the week, every Friday at 5 p.m., we tally it up who listed the most during the week. And that person gets a treat paid for by the other person spending money. So
Oh, what a good
we,
idea.
yeah, so we do that. I think in the next year, we're really trying to get our average net profit up to $20 an item. We're at 17
Hmm.
right now, and that's after fees and shipping and cost of goods and everything. So I think
Yeah.
we're really close. And then we also want to get to where we are consistently selling 10 items a day. So we're about
Yeah.
50% of the way there now.
So are you going to up your delist relisting? You're going to just try to listing more? How do you think you'll accomplish that
I think
goal?
listing more and listing more quality items. So
Higher ASP.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes what we list is a friend of the family is moving out and gave us this entire lot of stuff for free, and we just list everything that's there. And that's not always the way to go. Sometimes it's not worth the time of taking the pictures and listing it and paying my stepson to ship it if we're only going to make $4.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going to be a little more picky.
It's a lot of kind of experiential learning, this journey, right?
Hmm.
You kind
For
of
sure.
that's what I love about e-commerce is it's been one empowering, right? It's
Hmm.
been great to stay at home and have a work from home job
Yeah.
and feel kind of empowered, I think.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. It's like if I, want an extra $100, I can go to a free pile, find some chairs, clean them up, and sell them on Facebook. And
Yeah.
yeah, everything's within my power, which is, it can be bad sometimes because you have no external motivation, but it's also good because it means the sky's the limit.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, so we talked about some of the things that are working for you with Treecat. We
Hmm.
have some goals ourselves as to growth that we want and things that we want to see for Treecat in the future. We might want to add some more platforms.
Hmm.
Do you have ideas on like are you thinking of adding any platforms? I know you sell on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, right? You do like local sales.
Right. Yeah.
Have you considered any other platforms, selling
For
platforms?
for e-commerce, I do sell on Bonanza currently,
Okay.
and it does sync directly with eBay for the most
Right.
part. But some things are not allowed on eBay that are allowed on Bonanza, Poshmark, and Mercari. And so it would be nice if Bonanza was also included in Treecat, so that if I sold it on Bonanza, it would take it off of Poshmark and Mercari and vice versa.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because it sort of mirrors eBay, right? And then if
Right.
it gets taken off eBay, it'll delist it from eBay. But if it was within Treecat, then it would also take it off of Poshmark Card. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you interested in all in any of the live selling stuff? Is that something that you're thinking about, or?
Yeah, we have done Whatnot a few times. We've had a lot of success selling yarn on Whatnot. We do whole yarn shows. Um, but it's usually a different set of inventory than I sell on eBay and Poshmark and Mercari.
Hmm.
So I don't think I wouldn't benefit
Yeah,
from those
I
platforms
agree
being
with
on
that.
Treecat. Yeah.
Have you ever considered Shopify, like making your own store? Is that something that
Yeah.
appeals to you?
I don't think so. If we did, my husband knows Shopify like the back of his hand, so he could set it up very easily. That's part of what he does with his clients. Um, but I just think that getting that audience, as much
Yeah.
audience as we have on the other platforms, would just be so difficult. The time involved would not be worth the slight savings and fees. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. So, any advice for people considering cross-listing or using Treecat,
I
just from your
think
experience?
Yeah, I think there was definitely a learning curve for me. It took me some time to realize what each button was doing. And so give yourself some time to really learn it. Send an email. You guys have been really great at getting back to us with when we have any questions. And I know Brian really benefited from there was like a free call that he did,
Yeah.
learning how to use the system and stuff. And that was really
Yeah.
great too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to be, customer centric, forward thinking, and always improving. So I'm glad to hear that was your experience. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. You have some things that you want to plug. You have a website, right?
Yeah, so we're bargainingbex.com, and on there you can link to all of our platforms. So Bonanza, Mercari, eBay, Poshmark. There's also an article about Treecat, our review and our video on there.
Oh,
And then and all of our socials. So we're just getting started on YouTube, but we're also on Instagram and Facebook.
nice. And you're also an affiliate. You became a Treecat affiliate, so your code for that is BB Save.
Yes,
Mr. Treecat, maybe
Save.
you can put that up. BB Save. And
Yes.
bargainingbex.com. And what else? What else do we want to plug? You have on TikTok and all that fun stuff.
We're not on TikTok, but
Okay.
we're on Instagram and Facebook under Bargaining Bex, and YouTube also.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have like one brand. You've done the right thing, and you just branded yourself as one thing. That's so smart. Smart.
I do also sell on Etsy, but it's a different inventory. So I'm obsessed with the TV show Gilmore Girls, and I make T-shirts about Gilmore Girls and sell them on Etsy under 3 Coffees Printing.
Okay, cool. Oh, so you do a little bit like print on demand, or do you
print
print
on
it
demand.
yourself?
Print on demand.
Nice. Nice. Well, so you are just doing everything. You're doing all the things.
I like to find multiple sources of income.
It's so great to talk to someone who's just a go-getter. I love it. It's inspiring. I find it very inspiring.
Thank you.
Gosh, best of luck to you and with all your selling. And thank you for coming on to my show here, my podcast, my live stream.
And Mr. Treecat spelled Lorelai correctly. Very few men know how to spell her name correctly. Perfect.
I think he might be a Gilmore Girls fan too. I'm not sure.
Excellent. Well, then he'd like my cup here. There we go.
Awesome. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
we'll wrap it up here, and
right.
happy Labor Day weekend. I hope you're going to go do something fun.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thanks for making a great platform for us to cross list.
Okay. All right. Bye, Heidi.
Bye.